I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Acclaimed for his role in Boys in the Hood, Larry Fishburne is Officer Russell Stevens.
I knew you'd come.
There's a thin line between catching a criminal and becoming one. Deep Cover. Directed by Bill Duke.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. And this was a request from King of the Midway. I apologize it took so long. Thank you so much for that, though. If people want to request pretty much any type of review or movie topic or reaction or any other type of video, you can request it either directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I'll get to them as soon as I can. But King of the Midway wanted me to talk about Deep Cover from 1992. Now, this is directed by Bill Duke. Yes, Mac from Predator, actor from Commando. This Green Berets going to kick your ass. It's interesting to see him as a director. He's directed before. He would direct after. In fact, I think he directed Sister Act 2, which I never would have thought Bill Duke would have directed Sister Act 2. Based on him as an actor, based on films like this as a director, Sister Act 2 just, it's like John McTiernan directing the third 3 Men and a Baby movie. Or if Rennie Harlan directed a sequel to, I don't know, Forrest Gump. Be like, okay, it's interesting. No. But Deep Cover, I really enjoyed watching this. This was actually the first time I had heard about the film because it stars Lawrence Fishburne. It stars Jeff Goldblum in a villain role. And I really enjoyed this because I thought it had some style to it. I thought it had a good usage of the cinematography. It was a good looking film. I thought it was a rather hard-hitting film. Really does showcase how far Lawrence Fishburne goes undercover. And as he says, you know, I went into this wanting to, I was supposed to make a difference. Now I'm selling this stuff to pregnant women. Because he's trying to, he has to go farther and further and farther and further deep undercover. As Axel Foley would say, he's going deep, 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 deep undercover. And being a cop is sparked by him witnessing the death of his father, who tried to rob a store. And he taught himself, I never want to be that guy. But in a weird twist of events, he becomes a cop. He goes in to see Charles Martin Smith, who I remember he was in Starman. He directed this film called 50-50 with Peter Weller, Robert Hayes, which I love. Deserves a Blu-ray. And he has a small part acting in the film. He plays the police chief, and he asks this weird question that I can't repeat. Does he have a word with the N word? And he asks each of these officers, one by one, when they come in, what's the difference between a black man and a And one person says nothing, one person ready to beat him up. But then Lawrence Fishburne has an answer where he goes, oh God, what was the answer? It was a good answer. I fucking forgot. I don't always remember the lines right. You know what? I'll leave that for the viewer to find out for themselves. He gives a good line back. And then he starts going deep undercover. He moves into a place. One of the few flaws I have, there's this neighbor lady who has a kid, and she is way over the top. She's way over the top. I know she's supposed to play a strung out character, but it's like, hey, maybe you could have them for like, I don't know, $2,000. You know, how about $3,000? Okay, how about $2,000? I mean, like, lady, you're doing way over the top, man. You made Chris Rock in New Jack City look like, I don't know, Chevy Chase and fucking Fletch. I mean, that's not the comparison I was thinking of. You made Chris Rock in New Jack City. Try to think. There's a comedian, I can't think of his fucking name. I always forget his name. It starts with Steven. Whatever, it's fucking ruined anyway. Who gives a shit? Just tone it down a little bit. Tone it down a little bit. Fuck's sake. But that's one of the few complaints I have. Because one thing leads to another. Lawrence Fishburne gets arrested. And he's helped out by Jeff Goldblum, who works with these higher-ups. He's a lawyer, but he's also a drug trafficker in this network that Lawrence Fishburne's trying to get into. They like the fact that he doesn't talk. And I really did feel, because a lot of movies, they do not do the best job with this, where you were supposed to assume throughout the film that these two characters are getting along with each other and they actually become friendly with each other. So by the end, there's a bit of toughness when the friction occurs. Sometimes you don't buy it. I bought it here. I really bought the fact that at least Jeff Goldblum really started to like Lawrence Fishburne's character, and with trust. And Jeff Goldblum, man, he was so interesting because I've never seen a Jeff Goldblum performance like this. Because either Jeff Goldblum is sort of the typical, you know, people do the impressions. Not the case here. This one, he's much more, just have a different character. Either he's more fun and more like, oh man, how come I like balling black chicks so much? You never thought Jeff Goldblum would say a line like that. Or trying to reference Scarface. A man is two things, his man and his balls. Or is that three things? You know, he adds that. Or you can tell he's getting more and more pissed at his boss, who doesn't treat him with respect. And he talks about how, man, I want my cake. And I want to eat it too. Which sounds silly, but I thought Jeff Goldblum actually pulled that off very well. There's one scene in particular where there's this other guy, he's got the gun on him in this limo. And he's like, feels the rat, feels the rat. Open the door. Open the fucking door. Just, again, you don't see him this angry, violent. And right, he's not angry and violent for the entire film. Not even close. But A, it's rare to see Jeff Goldblum play a villain. B, to see him, again, as a drug trafficker and these moments of anger, and it was just refreshing. Being a fan of Jeff Goldblum as an actor, it was nice to see that. And sometimes Jeff Goldblum, I wouldn't say he's not the most energetic, but that's a lie, because there's moments in The Fly when he's getting pissed off about it. The changing of his body. There's other movies too. But you think of Jeff Goldblum, you think of one demeanor, or one type of demeanor, and this was, like I said, refreshing change of pace. And Lawrence Fishburne, I thought, did a really good job as the lead. Yeah, I thought this did prove that he could be a leading man. And this is, I think, when he was still labeled as Larry Fishburne. It was either this or after this that he would finally be called Lawrence Fishburne instead of Larry Fishburne. I guess he felt Lawrence would make him take him more seriously as an actor. But I thought Larry Fishburne sounded fine too, but that's just me. It pretty much is up and down scope where as things are being more successful, he's ranking up on the drug circuit. And you can tell there's a bit of temptation. There's a bit of temptation of maybe kind of liking this and maybe kind of enjoying this. And at one point he even falls in love with someone who knows Jeff Goldblum's character. And granted, part of me is like, I don't think you really needed a love story in this. Not every movie needs a love story. And I would say if there's a part that was the least interesting, it was that. I didn't give a shit about the love story aspect. I would rather see more of the bromance of Jeff Goldblum and Lawrence Fishburne rather than the romance of Lawrence Fishburne and this lady. But again, that's just me. Other actors, Clarence Williams III, which he was in Tales from the Hood. Get the good shit. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. He was also in Prison. He's been in a few other stuff. Maniac Cop 2, I think. 2 or 3, I can't remember. I think 2. But he plays a cop who's has religious beliefs. And interesting thing is that he actually wants to help Lawrence Fishburne's character. Like, hey son, you don't have to do this anymore. So there's that interesting thing where here's a cop who wants to help Fishburne, but Fishburne is a cop, but he can't tell the guy, otherwise his cover's blown. But in a weird way, Lawrence Fishburne needs to hear this because he's delving deeper and deeper into this. There's even a part where he does cocaine, and he doesn't have to. He's, oh, I better do this or I'll get caught. Because Charles Martin Smith kind of fucks him over on other stuff, and he gets depressed. He's like, and even Jeff Goldblum says, are you high? Did you take a hit? And so we got the finale. I thought it was rather effective. Spoiler alert, starting now, spoilers. Well, I guess a lot of it's been spoiled, but when I say spoilers, usually I'm talking about the ending of the film. So again, spoilers of that part. I like that Jeff Goldblum's like the devil tempting him, because they're getting higher up. Jeff Goldblum has this chemical that he wants to unleash in this new drug. They get the people that, for the most part, Lawrence Fishburne was after. Then they're doing this other deal for the even bigger guys. Clarence Williams III interferes because he's a cop doing his job. So on the one hand, Lawrence Fishburne wants to protect the cop, but then Jeff Goldblum has shot him. And Lawrence Fishburne tells him, I'm a cop. And Jeff Goldblum's upset about it, but he goes, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know your dick gets hard for power and money. Again, it's not the typical thing you hear of Jeff Goldblum that come out of his mouth, but again, that's what made it interesting. That's what made it interesting to watch. Mixed in with Bill Duke doing a pretty good job directing with a certain sense of style. It's a good looking film, cinematography wise. The other actors do their jobs well. I never really got bored too much. I was interested to see what would happen next. I was enjoying the almost friendship these guys were growing between the two of them. Again, Goldblum's like tempting him. And then when he walks away, he turns his back on Fishburne. Fishburne reads him his rights. And then they both have a standoff. So yeah, the movie I thought was... I'm trying to think if this film did well. I kind of want to check to see if it did anything when it came out. Because it's not a film you see a lot of people talk about. No one really talks about Deep Cover. But if that's the case, then I would deem the film a bit underrated, honestly. It's definitely worth a look if you like either of the actors. It's one of those films, I remember seeing the VHS cover a lot, but just never got around to seeing it. Likened by some critics to be a modern film noir. Yeah, I could see that. Its theme song composed by Dr. Dre and newcomer Snoop Dogg. Yeah, not a bad song of deep cover. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Wow. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne has a narration, and you know what? It's not a bad narration. A lot of times the narration is like, oh, Harrison Ford and Blade Runner, you know, that type of variety was like, this isn't needed, and it just sounds like the actor is bored. The case here, I thought it did fit for the tone of the film, that film noir aspect. I was looking to see if it doesn't say much in the box office. It says 16 million. I have a feeling it cost more than that, so I guess this film did not do that well. Does it say what it debuted on? Widest released 902 theaters. Release date April 17th, 1992. Which number one at the box office on that day was Basic Instinct. For some reason it doesn't say a top 5 or top 10 of the weekend, but whatever. Because Box Office Mojo is fucked up nowadays because they changed the shit. I mean, the other films Bill Duke did, A Rage in Harlem, before this I never saw, Cemetery Club, Sister Act 2, America's Dream, Hoodlum, which I've heard of Hoodlum, The Golden Spiders, don't know what that is, Cover, Not Easily Broken, Dark Girls, Created Equal, never heard of this other stuff. Real quickly, I want to see if there's anything on the trivia. I know I'm lollygagging around, but I mean, it's solid actors, great 2 main performances, has that film noir cinematography. That's what I was thinking of when I was thinking of the cinematography. I was thinking of the right phrase, the right words to use. That fits the bill. It kept me interested to see what was going to happen next. Yeah, that is funny. Jeff Goldblum appeared in Death Wish as a punk, and Lawrence Fishburne was in Death Wish 2 as a punk. That is interesting. Nothing really else with the trivia. 6.9 IMDb, which is fair. I would give it higher, but that's a fair rating considering it's IMDb. But yeah, the film seems like it didn't do that well. And while not everything works like the love story aspect, I just thought this was still a pretty damn good flick. Worth a watch if you like. Don't expect wall-to-wall action. It's not an action movie. So if you're expecting wall-to-wall action, car chases, shootouts, it's not that kind of movie. It really isn't. This is more of a drama, thriller, cop movie. But for that kind of film, I thought it worked very well. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.